Welcome back to another deep dive. Today feels different. There's a different energy.
It feels significant, doesn't it?
It really does. We've been working our way through the Bhagavad Gita, and if you've been with us for the first 6 chapters, you know the vibe. It's been very instructional.
Very mechanical almost.
Exactly. A how-to manual.
Yeah.
How to sit, how to breathe, how to control your senses, how to do your duty without freaking out about the results. It's like a user's guide for the human machine.
Mm-hmm.
But today we are cracking open chapter 7, and I get this distinct feeling that the manual is being put away, and we are getting into something, well, something much bigger.
You're absolutely right. This is the pivot point, the great shift. In Sanskrit, the first 6 chapters are often grouped together as karma yoga, the path of action.
Right, the practical stuff.
The practical stuff. But chapter 7 kicks off the entire middle section of the text, which is often called the bhakti, or more accurately here, the jnana section. We are moving from ethics and mechanics to metaphysics and reality.
It's like we've spent 6 chapters learning how to drive the car. Where the brake is, how to steer, how to change gears.
Yes.
And now the instructor's popping the hood and saying, okay, now I'm going to teach you how the internal combustion engine actually works.
Or even deeper than that. It's like the instructor saying, now I'm going to teach you what movement is. The chapter is titled Jnana-Vijnana-Yoga.
Jnana-Vijnana-Yoga.
Which translates to the yoga of knowledge and wisdom. And right there, in that title, we have the central tension of this whole discussion.
Knowledge and wisdom. In English, we use those interchangeably all the time. He's a knowledgeable guy. He's a wise guy. Well, maybe wise guy means something else in New Jersey. But, generally we think of them as being in the same bucket.
We do.
But the Sanskrit distinctions here, jnana and vijnana, they're hyper-specific, aren't they?
Oh, they are drastically different. And really, getting the gap between them is the key to this entire chapter.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever, say, bought a book on how to swim?
I can't say that I have, no, but I can imagine it. Diagrams of the freestyle stroke, chapters on buoyancy, the physics of drag, maybe a section on breathing techniques.
Exactly. You could read that book. You could memorize it. You could probably write a doctoral thesis on the hydrodynamics of the human body moving through water. You could know the chemical composition of H2O and the specific gravity of the human torso.
Right, all the theory.
That is jnana. That is theoretical knowledge. It's intellectual. It's dry, literally.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Now take that PhD student who knows everything there is to know about swimming, walk them out to a cold lake in November, and push them in.
Panic, total panic.
Shock, the freezing sensation on the skin, the water filling the nose, that sudden, terrifying realization that gravity works completely differently in here.
Right.
That experience, that visceral, undeniable, in-your-bones reality of being in the water, that is Vijnana.
So jnana is reading the menu, Vijnana is eating the meal.
Precisely. Jnana is looking at a map of Paris. Vijnana is standing on a street corner in the Marais and smelling the croissants bake. And the Gita is making a very, very aggressive point here right at the start of chapter 7.
We just...
We are drowning in jhana, but we are starving for Vijnana.
Wow. That feels incredibly relevant to the modern listener. I mean, we have the internet. I have the sum total of human knowledge right here in my pocket. I can look up the definition of compassion or consciousness in, 3 seconds?
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean I am compassionate or conscious.
Exactly. We confuse data acquisition with transformation. We think because we listen to a podcast about fitness, we are suddenly fit.
How guilty.
Or because we read a book about leadership, we're now leaders. That is the trap of jnana. It creates this false sense of competency.
So in verses 7.1 and 7.2, the speaker Krishna makes this massive promise to Arjuna. He says, essentially, I'm going to give you the whole package.
He says, I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. That's a good translation of jnana and vijnana. And then he drops the mic. He says, this being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know.
Nothing further shall remain to be known. I mean, that is a staggering claim. It sounds like the grand unified theory that physicists have been chasing for 100 years. The theory of everything.
It is exactly that. But on a metaphysical level, the logic is this. If you understand the source, you understand everything that comes from the source.
Okay.
If you understand the chemical composition of gold, really understand it, you don't need to separately study every single gold ring and necklace and coin in the world. You know their essence.
You know what they're made of.
Right. You know what they're made of. Krishna is saying, I am going to show you the gold.
But then, just as we get all excited about this theory of everything, he hits us with a reality check in verse 7.3. And it's, It's a bit of a downer.
It's the statistical probability of success. It's a tough pill to swallow. He says, out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection.
1 in 1,000 even tries.
And of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth.
So, 1 in 1,000 tries. And of those who try, maybe one actually gets it. So we're talking, what, 1 in a million? Maybe more?
Implicitly, yes. It's a funnel. A very, very narrow funnel.
Why? I mean, if this Vijnana, this realized wisdom, is the secret sauce of the universe, why is the attrition rate so high? Why aren't we all chasing it?
I think it's because of that menu problem we just talked about. Most people are perfectly happy reading the menu.
Or they don't even know there's a meal.
That too. Or, more accurately, most people are just trying to survive. We are biologically wired for the surface level of life. You know, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. The text calls this the lower nature. To stop and ask, wait, what is the source of all this? That requires a pivot that goes against our biological inertia. It takes effort.
It's so much easier to just swim on the surface than to dive to the bottom.
Much easier. And let's be honest, the surface is shiny. It's distracting. We have Netflix, we have careers, we have social status games to play. To be that 1 in 1,000 who says, hang on, I want to know the truth behind the curtain, you have to be willing to look away from the show.
Well, let's try to be that 1 in 1,000 today. Let's look behind the curtain. Krishna starts by giving us the blueprint of reality. This is our section 1, the separation of inert nature and sentient nature.
This is verse 7.4. He starts purely with physics, or at least ancient physics. He says earth, water, fire, air, ether.
The classic 5 elements: solids, liquids, radiant energy, gas, space. Okay, we get that. That's the physical world.
But then he continues the list of inert nature, or prakriti, and he adds 3 more things to this list of material stuff. He says mind, intelligence, and false ego.
Whoa, hold on, pause the tape. My mind, my intelligence, my ego.
Yes.
He's putting my thoughts and my personality in the same bucket as rocks and water.
And this is the hurdle. This is the part that trips up almost every Western reader. We are raised on, I think, therefore I am. We identify ourselves with our mind.
Of course.
But the Gita says, no, your mind is just stuff. It's subtle stuff, sure. It's not a rock. But it is still matter. It is still a machine.
This is the hardware-software analogy, isn't it?
It's the perfect way to understand it. Your body is the hardware, the plastic case, the silicon chips, the wires. That's earth, water, fire.
Okay.
Your mind, your intellect, and your ego are the software, the operating system, the apps, the data processing.
But software isn't alive?
Exactly. Windows 11 isn't alive. It's a complex set of instructions. It processes input and it gives output. The Gita argues your mind does the exact same thing. It takes in sensory data as input, processes it through memory and logic, the CPU, and then triggers an action, which is the output. It is a mechanism.
So if my body is the hardware and my mind is the software, then who am I? Who is the user?
Ah, now that is the question. And that is the higher nature introduced in verse 7.5. The jiva, the soul, the consciousness. The text says this higher nature upholds the universe. It is the sentient spark.
The electricity.
The electricity. Without the user, without the electricity of consciousness, the computer is just a dead paperweight. The software doesn't run itself.
This is a radical dissociation. It means when I say I am anxious, I'm technically wrong. I should be saying my software is running an anxiety loop.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that is the beginning of freedom. When you realize the mind is part of the lower nature, the inert nature, you stop taking your thoughts so personally. You realize you are the observer of the thoughts, not the thinker of the thoughts.
And verse 7.6 ties this all together. Krishna claims to be the source of both of them.
He says, I am the origin and the dissolution. He's the alpha and the omega. He isn't just the user. He built the computer, he wrote the code, and he's the electricity powering it. He's what philosophy calls both the material cause and the efficient cause.
It just reframes the entire picture. We aren't just biological accidents in this view. We are sparks of a higher nature, driving these vehicles made of lower nature.
And that vehicle, the body and mind, is prone to breaking down. It's prone to glitches. But the higher nature is untouched.
Okay, so we have this framework. Lower nature, which is matter and mind, and higher nature, which is the soul or consciousness. But how do they fit together? Because when I look around, I don't see higher nature. I see trees, I see my laptop, I see traffic.
I see the pearls, the pearls.
This brings us to verse 7.7, which contains one of the most famous and, I think, beautiful metaphors in all of Indian philosophy. Krishna says, there is nothing superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread.
Pearls on a thread. Okay, let's unpack that image.
Imagine a beautiful pearl necklace. When you look at it, what catches your eye?
The pearls. Their luster, their shape, their individuality, each one is a little different. Right. You see the forms, you see the diversity, but what is holding them all together? What makes it a necklace and not just a pile of marbles on the floor?
Well, the thread running through the middle.
And can you see the thread?
No, not
Right.
really. It's hidden inside the pearls.
But you know it's there. Because if I came up with a pair of scissors and snipped that invisible thread, what happens to the pearls?
They scatter, chaos.
Yeah.
The whole structure just collapses.
That is the relationship between the divine and the universe. The divine is the sutra, the thread. It is the invisible substrate that holds reality together. We get so mesmerized by the shiny pearls, the people, the objects, the dramas, the politics, that we forget there is a unifying connection running through the center of it all.
So the wise person, that 1 in 1,000, is basically someone who has developed X-ray vision. They can look at the necklace and actually see the string.
Metaphorically, yes. Vijnana is the ability to perceive the connection, not just the isolated objects. And because we are human and we rely on our senses, Krishna gives us a kind of cheat sheet in the next few verses. He tells us how to spot the string in everyday life. These are the I am verses, from 7.8 through 7.1.
These are honestly some of the most poetic lines in the entire text. Let's walk through a few of them. The first one always stops me. Verse 7.8. I am the taste of water. Russell Hepsu.
Notice what he doesn't say. He doesn't say, I am the water. Water is the chemical substance H2O. That's the lower nature. He says, I am the taste.
Why that distinction? What's the significance of the taste?
Think about when you are incredibly thirsty. Parched. You've been hiking for hours in the sun. You take that first sip of cool water. There's a sensation there, incenizing, a profound satisfaction in the life-giving quality. That isn't just chemistry. That is an experience.
Okay.
Krishna is identifying with the essence of the thing, not the thing itself, the quality that makes it what it is.
So next time I drink a glass of water, instead of just mindlessly gulping it down while I'm strolling on my phone, I can actually treat it as a moment of contact.
That's the practice. That is exactly how you turn jnana, knowing God is in water, into vijnana, which is experiencing the divine in the taste. He's inviting you to find the sacred in the most mundane biological acts.
He goes on, I am the light of the sun and the moon. I am the sound in the ether. I am the pleasant fragrance of the earth.
That fragrance of the earth, the Sanskrit is punyagandha, is so evocative. You know that smell after the first rain hits dry ground?
Touch your shore.
It's primal. It smells like life. He's saying, I am that freshness. I am the purity within the element.
And then we get to verse 7.11, which feels like it needs a bit of a warning label. He says, I am strength.
But with a huge qualification, strength devoid of passion and desire. Kamaraga vivaritam.
Okay, that's a big caveat, because strength can be problematic.
Huge. He's not talking about the strength of a bully or the strength of a conqueror trying to expand an empire for his own glory. He's talking about vitality, capability, the strength to protect, to uphold, to endure. It's the strength of a firefighter running into a burning building, not a boxer beating someone up for money.
And then, the most surprising one for many people, especially if they come from a more puritanical background, I am sex life, or desire, which is not contrary to religious principles.
Dharma aviruddho kamosmi. I am desire that is not opposed to dharma. This is revolutionary for a religious text. It's not demonizing desire.
Not at all.
It's saying that the drive to create, the drive to connect, the drive to reproduce, that engine of life, is divine. It is God energy.
It's the engine of the entire universe, really.
Exactly. It only becomes undivine when it breaks the banks of the river, when it becomes exploitative, non-consensual, or obsessive. But the raw impulse, the text says that's the higher nature working through our biology.
I found a note in one of the commentaries about a tailor analogy that helps explain this idea of God being in the materials. Can we unpack that a little?
Oh, this is a great philosophical nuance. So in Western philosophy, we often talk about the efficient cause and the material cause.
Okay, lay it on me.
Think of a shirt. A tailor makes the shirt. He is the efficient cause, the maker.
Right.
The cotton is the material cause, the stuff it's made of. In our human world, the tailor and the cotton are two different things. The tailor doesn't. Well, he didn't secrete cotton from his fingertips.
Right, he has to go buy it from a store. They're separate.
But Krishna is making a much bolder and more profound claim. He is saying, I am the tailor, but I am also the cotton. And on top of that, I am the softness in the cotton.
So there's absolutely nothing outside of him.
Correct. He creates the universe out of his own energy. So when you look at a tree or a mountain or another person, you aren't just looking at something God made, you are looking at God in a specific form. The pearls are the energy of the maker, strung on the thread of the maker.
Which leads to the inevitable question, the big one. If everything is divine, if the taste of water is God, if the light is God, if my annoying neighbor is made of God stuff, then why don't I see it? Why do I just see a glass of tap water and an annoying neighbor?
Why is the string hidden?
Exactly.
Welcome to the glitch, section 3 of our outline. The reason we are blind to the string is a force called Maya.
Maya. Illusion.
Illusion. In verse 7.14, Krishna calls it my divine energy, consisting of the 3 modes of nature. And he admits, quite bluntly, this illusion is very difficult to overcome. The Sanskrit word is duratya.
We hear about these 3 modes or gunas all the time in yoga circles, sattva, rajas, tamas. But let's try to define them not as, textbook terms, but as user experiences.
Yeah.
What does this glitch actually feel like?
Think of the gunas as colored glasses that are glued to your face. You never take them off. You see everything through them.
Okay.
Tamas is the dark lens. It is inertia, laziness, confusion, depression. When you can't get out of bed, when you're doom scrolling for 4 hours and just feel numb and you just don't care about anything, that is the mode of tamas.
The fog.
The fog. Then there is rajas. This is the red lens. It's passion, activity, restlessness, desire. This is the modern default mode, I think. I need to get that promotion. I need to buy that house. I'm anxious about the deadline. I want. It's high energy, but it's agitated and stressful.
And sattva. The good one.
Sattva is the clear lens, or maybe a sort of golden lens. It is harmony, balance, clarity, knowledge. It's when you feel peaceful, charitable, and lucid.
Sattva sounds pretty great. Why is it part of the illusion?
Because it's still a lens. If you are wearing yellow glasses, the world looks yellow. Even if it's a nice, pleasant yellow, you aren't seeing the world as it is. You are still conditioned. The text says the whole world is diluted by the constant interplay of these 3 modes.
We're always bouncing between them.
Constantly bouncing between being lazy, tamas, being manic, rajas, or being calm, sattva. And we get so caught up in the mood swings, the drama of the movie, that we forget we are sitting in a theater.
That's the analogy that always works for me, the movie theater. If the movie is really gripping, let's say it's a thriller, you forget you are in a seat. You forget you even have popcorn. Your heart races, you might cry, you grip the armrest. You are totally and completely identified with the projection on the screen.
Maya is the plot of the movie. It's designed to be immersive, and it has to be. If it wasn't immersive, the universe wouldn't function. We wouldn't eat or reproduce or build cities. But the downside is we get stuck in the plot and forget the screen.
The text gets pretty harsh here for people who get totally lost in the plot. Verse 7.15 mentions the Naradamas, the lowest of mankind. It says they are robbed of knowledge by illusion and partake in a demoniac nature.
Yeah, that language can be really off-putting. Demoniac. It summons up these images of The Exorcist or something.
Exactly. It feels like hellfire and brimstone, which seems out of place.
It does, but we need to strip the theology away and look at the psychology. In the Gita, the term azuric, demoniac, doesn't mean having horns and a tail. It describes a specific psychological profile. Narcissism, materialism, exploitation.
Oh, okay.
The Naradama is the person who says, I am the body, I am the consumer, the world exists to serve me, there is no string, there are only pearls, and I want to grab as many pearls as I can before I die.
The person who thinks they're the director of the movie, not just a member of the audience.
Right. And because they are fighting reality, because reality is actually interconnected and they're acting like it's separate, they suffer. And they cause suffering. It's a clinical description of extreme egocentricity.
So here's the problem. If my mind, my software, is infected by this Maya virus, and my mind is the only tool I have to think with, how can the software debug itself? I can't think my way out of a mind trap.
You've hit on the central catch-22 of spiritual life. You cannot pull yourself up by your own bootstraps if you're standing in quicksand. Verse 7.14 gives the only exit strategy, and it's a word that makes high achievers and control freaks very uncomfortable.
Surrender.
Those who surrender unto me alone cross over this ocean of illusion.
Surrender. To a modern ear, especially Western ear, that sounds like defeat. It sounds like I give up. I lost.
It's not giving up in the sense of losing a battle. It's aligning. Think of it like swimming in the ocean. Get caught in a rip current.
Okay. I know what to do there. Or I'm supposed to.
Right. If you fight the current, if you use your ego and your strength to swim directly against it, you will exhaust yourself and you will drown. The ocean is stronger than you. That is fighting Maya.
You can't win.
You can't. But if you surrender to the water, if you relax, float, and swim parallel to the shore, using the water's nature to help you, you survive. Surrender in the Gita isn't about weakness. It's about acknowledging, I am not the controller of the tides.
It's shifting from I will make this happen to I will align with what is happening.
Exactly that. It's moving from the ego, which is the glitch, to the soul, which is the higher nature.
So who are the people that actually try to do this? The text profiles the seekers in section 4. And I find this section really validating because it acknowledges that not everyone comes to spirituality for these, high-minded, pure reasons.
This is one of the most human and compassionate parts of the Gita. Verse 7.16, Krishna categorizes 4 types of people who turn to the divine. And he doesn't reject any of them. He welcomes them all.
Let's look at the 4 profiles. First, type 1, the distressed.
This is the person in crisis.
Right, the person in the foxhole. God help me, I'm suffering, I'm sick, I lost my job, my heart is broken.
We've all been there. Crisis is probably the biggest gateway to spirituality. When the pearls fall off the string and scatter on the floor, we suddenly start looking for the string.
Okay, type 2, the seeker of wealth, Artharthi. This is the person who wants something.
God, I want a promotion, I want a new house, I want my startup to succeed. This is the transactional seeker.
It's the whole manifesting culture in a way.
It is. I will do this ritual, and in exchange, you give me this reward. I will be a good person, so I deserve to get a bonus.
Right. Then type 3, the curious, Jnasu, the intellectual.
How does the universe work? What is consciousness? What is the nature of reality? Let me read the books. These are the philosophers, the scientists, the people who listen to deep dive explorations.
That's us.
They are driven by a deep need to know the mechanics of the truth.
And finally, type 4, the wise, Jnani.
The Jnani is the one who already knows, the one who has that Vijnana experience. They don't want money, they aren't just in pain, and they aren't just curious anymore. They love the divine simply because they know the divine is everything. It's love for love's sake.
So of course the text ranks them.
It does, but first it validates them. This is so important. In verse 7.18, Krishna calls all of them Udara, which means magnanimous or noble. He says, good for you for even asking. He doesn't say the wealth seeker is bad or greedy. He says, at least you're looking in the right direction.
It's like even if you are asking the CEO for a new stapler, at least you're in the CEO's office.
That's a start, exactly.
Yeah.
But the wise one, the Jnani, is distinct. Krishna says something astonishing. He says, the wise one is my very self.
Wow. My very self. Not my best friend or my favorite employee.
Right.
Myself.
The logic is simple. The first 3 have a dualistic relationship. I am here, God is there, and I want something from him, relief, money, or answers. It's transactional.
A business deal.
It's a deal. But the wise person has realized, I am connected to him. We are one in essence. Their relationship is relational, not transactional. It's, I love because it is my nature to love, not I love so I can get a paycheck.
It's a difference between loving your spouse because they pay the rent and loving your spouse because you just love them for who they are.
Exactly. If the rent stopped coming, the transactional lover leaves. The true lover stays. And the text says this state of the Jnani, this pure non-transactional love, is the rarest of all. Verse 7.19 puts a timeline on it.
After many, many births and deaths, one who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me.
It takes lifetimes, the text says, to get there. Because we are so addicted to the transaction, we are so addicted to asking, what's in it for me? And
speaking of what's in it for me, that leads us right into section 5, the trap of the lesser gods.
This is a fascinating section, and it's often misunderstood. We're looking at verses 7.20 to 7.23. The text talks about people who worship other deities, or demigods, devatas, to get specific desires fulfilled.
Now, in the context of the time, this obviously referred to the Vedic pantheon worshiping Indra for rain or Lakshmi for wealth. But how do we interpret this for a modern listener who might not be a polytheist? What is a lesser god in the year 2026?
A lesser god is any finite power or principle we chase for a temporary result. In the modern world, our pantheon is crowded.
Oh, yeah.
We worship the god of money, we worship the god of fitness, we worship the god of a political ideology, we worship the god of fame, or as we call it now, clout.
The god of productivity, the god of hustle culture.
Absolutely. And we sacrifice our time, our health, and our families at the altars of these gods. Why? Because we want a specific blessing from them.
If I sacrifice my sleep and my weekends to the god of hustle, I will be rewarded with a promotion.
Exactly. And here's the great irony. The Titan says, it works.
Wait, really? It says that?
Yes. Verse 7.22 says, endowed with such faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. It works. If you obsess over money, you will likely get money. If you obsess over fitness, you will probably get a six-pack. The universe delivers what you focus on.
But there's a catch. There has to be a catch.
A huge catch. Antavat tu phelam tisham. But the fruit gained by these people of small understanding is limited and temporary.
Antavat. Temporary.
You worship the god of money, you get money. But money can be lost in a market crash. And money can't buy you peace of mind. You worship the god of fitness, you get a great body. But the body ages, it gets sick, it sags, and eventually it dies. These are finite rewards.
The middle management analogy from the outline works really well here.
It's the perfect corporate metaphor. Imagine you work for a massive conglomerate. You can spend your whole career sucking up to a middle manager.
Okay.
You bring him coffee, you laugh at his bad jokes. Why? Because he has the power to give you a slightly better cubicle or an extra vacation day.
And he gives it to you. The system works.
He does. But that's all he can give you. And eventually he retires, or the department gets restructured, and you're right back to square one.
You've hit a ceiling.
You've hit a ceiling. The Gita asks, why are you settling for the cubicle upgrade? Go to the CEO. Align yourself with the owner of the whole company. The CEO can give you the vacation day, sure, but he can also give you a career, a purpose, and a security that the middle manager can't even comprehend.
And the text even adds a brilliant twist. When the middle manager gives you that vacation day, who actually signed the form? Who authorized it?
The CEO. Verse 7.22 says, but in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. The middle manager only has power because the CEO delegated it to him.
So the advice is, stop chasing the temporary channels. Go straight to the source.
Seek the infinite, not the finite. Because if you chase the finite, you remain finite. If you connect with the infinite, you become, well, free.
So we've covered the nature of reality, the hardware and software. We've talked about the string of pearls, the illusion of Maya as the glitch, and the different types of seekers. But the chapter ends with a look at why we get so confused in the first place. Section 6 calls this the root of confusion.
It boils down to a psychological mechanism we all experience every single day, almost every minute. Duality.
Verse 7.27.
O scion of Partha, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arisen from desire and hate.
Ika and Devesha. Desire and hate.
Like and dislike. Attraction and aversion. This is the binary code of the ego. It's how we operate.
It's how we navigate the world. I mean, from the moment we wake up, I like pizza, I hate broccoli, I like this political party, I hate that one. I want praise from my boss, I fear criticism from my family.
And the text says this binary mechanism bewilders us. It creates a thick fog. Why? Because when you are busy judging everything as good for me or bad for me, you stop seeing things as they are. You only see how they affect you. You are trapped in your own subjective bubble.
You can't see the string of pearls because you are too busy sorting all the pearls into pretty and ugly piles.
Precisely. You are reacting to the surface, so you miss the depth. This constant oscillation swinging between I want it, which is a pull, and I hate it, which is a push, keeps the mind agitated. And an agitated mind cannot reflect the truth. It's like trying to see your reflection in a boiling pot of water. It's impossible.
So what is the solution? To stop liking pizza? To become some kind of robot with no preferences?
Well, no, you can still enjoy pizza. But the solution, according to verse 7.28, is to act with virtue and determination to free oneself from the grip of this duality. It means acting out of a sense of duty and love, rather than just reacting to your cravings and aversions.
So you develop an equanimity.
You develop an equanimity where you aren't swept away by the highs and the lows.
It goes back to the swimming analogy.
Yep.
The water is cold. That's a sensation. Your mind might immediately say, I hate this, Geisha. But the swimmer, the one striving for vegana, just keeps swimming. They acknowledge the cold, but they don't let the dislike stop the action.
And that swimmer eventually reaches the other shore. They reach a place where the dualities don't control them anymore. They control their reactions to the dualities.
As we wrap up the chapter, the text throws us a bit of a curveball. The final two verses, 7.29 and 7.30, are basically a vocabulary list. It feels like a teaser trailer for the next movie.
It is exactly that. It's a Marvel post-credits scene. Krishna says, those who strive for liberation from old age and death, they know Brahman, they know the whole Ajatma, and they know all about karma.
And then verse 7.3 adds even more. Those who know me as the governing principle of the material manifestation, Adhibhuta, of the demigods, Adhidaiva, and of all sacrifices, Adhyajna. It's a lot of terms.
It's a syllabus for the next level of study. It's like, here are the keywords for the next part of the course. Brahman, the absolute truth. Adhyatma, the self or the soul. Karma, action and its creative force.
Adhiputa, Adhidaiva, Adhyajna, the material world, the cosmic forces, the principle of sacrifice. It feels like he's saying if you want to graduate, you need to master these subjects.
And the kicker, the absolute cliffhanger, is the final phrase of the chapter. They can understand and know me even at the time of death. Priyana Kali.
Knowing the divine at the time of death, that sounds heavy and important.
It sets the stage for Chapter 8, which is entirely about the moment of death. The Gita takes the stance that the moment of death is the final exam. Your state of mind in that split second determines your next destination.
So Chapter 7 says, here is the knowledge, Jnana, and wisdom, Vijnana, you need to pass.
And Chapter 8 will say, and here's how you use it when the clock runs out.
Wow. Okay, let's just take a breath. We've covered a massive amount of ground today. We moved from reading the menu to eating the meal. We took apart the computer to find the user. We looked for the string and the pearls. And we realized that sucking up to middle management is a waste of a life.
It's a dense chapter. But if we boil it down to the deep dive takeaway, I think it's this. Stop living on the surface. We live in a world of distraction. The lower nature is loud, the pearls are shiny, the gunas are constantly pulling our strings and making us dance. But you have the capacity, the Vijnana, to look deeper.
Look for the essence.
Yes. Look for the consciousness behind the thought. Look for the life behind the body. Look for the taste in the water.
And ask yourself, which type of seeker am I? Am I only calling home when I'm in trouble? Am I only praying when I want to raise? Or am I genuinely curious? Am I striving to be wise?
And remember, the text is clear. Even if you are the transactional seeker, that's okay. You're on the path. Just don't stop there. Keep evolving. The goal is to move from God, give me this, to God, I just want to know you.
That is the shift from Jnana to Vijnana.
Beautifully put.
So here is your provocative thought for the day for everyone listening.
Yeah.
Your homework, if you choose to accept it. The text says the divine is the taste in the water.
A simple, accessible practice for anyone.
The next time you take a sip of water, maybe right after this deep dive ends, just pause for 1 second. Don't just gulp it down. Feel the sensation and ask yourself, are you just hydrating a biological machine? Or are you experiencing the fundamental life-giving essence of the entire universe?
That one sip, if done with total awareness, could be your moment of Vijnana.
Thanks for diving deep with us today. We'll see you in Chapter 8, where we get to face the final exam, death itself.
See you then.